Hi, I'm Jesus, and this video is on the real reason CSGO is booming in China. Now, this is something that I looked at on my Twitch stream, but only a few hundred people saw it there, and it's so interesting that I actually want to share it on YouTube, because you might notice CSGO has been doing quite well recently. It's been doing really well. It's been growing in a whole range of markets, influencers are getting on board the hype, and it's only a matter of time at this rate before the Daily Mail is accusing us of promoting terrorism, and at that point, we will know that we've made it, that the game is really starting to see its full potential. But there might be an extra dimension to that. You see, since January the 23rd, so a very particular date, we'll get into that in a moment, CSGO has grown by, I would say, about 15% from January the 23rd to March 10, which is when I'm recording these exact lines. Pretty decent, pretty steady growth. And I think it's safe to say that, Shattered Web has been pretty popular, free-to-play has worked out, and the growth has been occurring pretty much across the world. And this is something you can see on Steam.db. So, this database shows the peak players on Valve matchmaking servers each night in each region. And as you can see, CSGO has been having a pretty good run recently. Things have really been going up. But if we drill into these numbers a bit more closely, you'll notice something very specific. So we'll cut it down to 6 months, and if we just look at the movement from January 23rd, very specific date, we'll get to that in a moment, and just compare it to the peak movements, a couple of days ago, you'll see it's gone up by, I would say, in rough terms, about 20%. 20% increase in peak players on Valve matchmaking servers. Now, these results are spread across the world. You can see it in Northern Europe, you can see it in Poland, you can also see it happening in Spain as well, and the US is doing quite well too. So if we just select all the US ones, sorry, a little bit awkwardly placed, you can see overall the US has been going up. And by the way, check this, let's compare the entire US scene to Northern Europe. I mean, no wonder the US struggles, they've got a fraction of the players that Europe does, but there's one area that's really punching above its weight when it comes to growth. So we'll remove those filters and add in the perfect world filters, and we'll just extend that to 1 year. Now, as you can see, it has been a great 2019 for China. The Chinese CSGO scene has grown a lot, and that growth has extended into 2020. Isn't that right, Chairman Xi?
女士们、先生们，大家好。
Well, I can't say they aren't delivering on that, but recently, things have been accelerating a little bit. I'll show you what I mean. So here we have January 23rd, and you can see peak players were about 76,000. Now, after this, you can see there's a big drop-off, that's Chinese New Year, and then the numbers started going up. They went up a lot. In fact, they've peaked at over 120,000 peak players. So that's more than, a 50% growth in the space of about a month and a half. And pay close attention and you'll notice something different about this growth too. So back down here, you've got all these spikes from the weekends. It's peaking on, Saturdays and Sundays, dropping off during the week. During this post-January 23rd period, the trend is pretty flat. There's no big peaks here for weekends. Like the big peak here is a Tuesday, like this one's a Wednesday. So suddenly the weekends don't seem to matter. It's like people are just at home the entire time with nothing to do other than play Counter-Strike. I mean, what could be causing this? Why do these people all of a sudden have all this free time? I mean, don't they have jobs? Well, fun fact actually, 23rd of January is when the Wuhan lockdown over the coronavirus began, which was rapidly expanded in various forms to cover hundreds upon hundreds of millions of Chinese, many of whom couldn't go to work and were literally stuck at home with nothing to do. Now, I'm not saying there's a correlation between this lockdown and this sudden increase in CSGO's player base, but I am saying it looks like a pretty bloody likely possibility to me, like a 98% certain possibility. And speaking of possibilities, this raises some bloody interesting ones. So, China is currently trying to ease its lockdown. It looks like it's got the disease under control for now. Maybe long term there'll be another outbreak, but short term, this means CSGO's player count is probably going to start to drop, or at least plateau. Long term, we've probably still picked up a lot of new Chinese players in the process who will probably stick around, so overall it's a gain for the game, even if the player count does start dropping off. But in the meantime, things are starting to get a bit ugly in the US, and the EU, and Australia. And those happen to be the places where a lot of CSGO's player base lives, so I really wonder what's going to happen to the numbers if we get some massive lockdowns there. It's definitely going to be interesting. Now, I'm not going to speculate too much more about it, or about the fact that the world's economy currently appears to be imploding, but we'll see how all this plays out before I make another video on it. But in the meantime, I would say that it seems like what's good for the coronavirus is good for CSGO. It's a match made in China, and like many things made in China, it's being exported around the world. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your guts. I'm Jesus. Thanks for watching. See ya.